Muscle ups. Now, to be honest, I didn't even know what a muscle up was about 2 years ago, but it's become a big thing in the last sort of 2 years, 3 years, I think, with the likes of Ido Portal especially, just showing people how to move. A year ago I couldn't do a muscle up, and I went on a course by a guy called Tony Riddle, a great guy, and I learned how to do a muscle up fairly quickly. So I'm going to teach you the steps that he taught me, and I've also learned from the likes of Ido Portal of how to do a muscle up. Now, the first thing you have to nail is the false grip. Now, what the hell is the false grip? You're going to be in a little bit of pain. I don't know if you can see this okay, but I was doing some earlier, and just right along this wrist, I've got a little bit of skinning. Now, I don't normally get that, but if you haven't done muscle ups before, be prepared to have a little bit of pain in this area, and you're going to have to deal with that. The ring is not a normal grip. Normally you grip the ring in this area. The ring goes around the heel of the hand, and that's where you're balancing or putting the load into when you grip onto the ring. So the first thing you really need to get when a muscle up is to nail that false grip. So on the rings, a little tip is to put your hand quite high up on the ring and then just drop it down and bring that arm down, and that's going to put you in a pretty strong position for a false grip. Another thing that I was taught is if you kind of, almost as if you're like doing a bicep curl, showing off your bicep, but turn your wrist the other way, and that's the kind of position that the wrist will be in when you're pulling down on a false grip. Another tip is to improve your wrist mobility. My wrists are pretty tight, but the first time I ever did a muscle up, the difference was simply I was able to get my wrist round the ring a little bit more, which made the muscle up much easier. So nail the false grip, make sure your wrists are nicely warmed up and mobile, and that's your number one start. When you've got the false grip, you want to be able to use it. Little tip. If you've got one of these metal things, get this high up, because if you get above the rings, that will scrape into your forearm. Other tip is get some decent chalk. That will enormously help you out. This is chalk that I actually borrowed off a climber friend about about 6 months ago now when I come to think of it. Sorry Anthony, I'll get you the chalk back someday. But put your hands in the false grip position. So rolling it around, and I'm in a false grip. Now I just want to start off with some gentle rolls. Can I maintain my false grip? Even that, for a lot of you, is going to be quite difficult, just maintaining the row. And then as you go, just gradually get a little bit longer with the arms until you can actually turn the arms out into a straight arm position into the row, maintaining the false grip all the time. Now what you will notice is that it will slip down from the wrist position into a normal grip position. If it slips down, stop. You need to be able to maintain the false grip the entire time. Next progression is you want to do a baby muscle up, so you want to work on the transition. The whole point of the false grip is it allows you to get from below the rings to above the rings, which is what a muscle up is. So work on your transition. Bring your feet in front of the rings, pull, and round and over. Back down, keeping the false grip. Now I'm allowing my elbows to go out a little bit because I'm just playing around, but initially you do want to keep the elbows quite tight, and boom. The tighter you keep the elbows, the easier you're going to make life for you at the start. But it's okay to let the elbows drift out when you're very good at muscle ups. You'll actually get stronger at them by letting the elbows drift a little bit. But the transition work, you want to nail this, keeping your false grip the whole time. When that's easy, all you need to do is just lift the rings up a little bit higher. Make sure they're even. Good. Now this is a bit more difficult. I've got to pull a bit harder and a bit stronger, keeping the false grip. And now, what do? I'm stuck underneath the rings, so I've got to learn how to pull to get above the rings. Okay, now your dip has to be good on a muscle up, because when you start off on the muscle up, you're going to be very deep in the dip position. So you've got to maybe work a little bit on your dip from here, it's a deep dip position, boom, tip on the dip. Put the hands into your pockets. If those elbows come out, you will not finish off the dip, or you may get a bit of pain on the medial side of your elbow. That can be medial epicondylitis on the elbow, which can cause a problem. So go into your pockets when you're dipping down, especially on the rings, and get these bloody things out of the way. They always become a problem. Okay, so you're learning how to get from below the ring to above the ring, maintaining that false grip. Pull, plop, back down, false grip. Pull, take the load, now start dipping it out. Okay? It's always nice to get to top position where you're turning the thumbs out. Now if you're really good, keep the knees up now and work on your negative, keeping the false grip the whole time. A little bit higher. Now this is pretty much as high as this will go, but what you really want is to have the rings up high so you can do this from a long arm. The way I'm going to do this with the long arm is by bending my knees. Hopefully you can see it in the video that my legs will not be touching the floor. And we're going to go from a full long arm. You've got to pull high, high, high before you get yourself above the ring with the false grip. Just going to reload Anthony's chalk. Anthony, there's not much chalk left, but I'll get you some new stuff. Okay, chalk up. Take my time, make sure I'm solid in my false grip. Going to bend my knees. Long arm. Pull. Look, don't even need any effort. Pull, pull, pull. I'm above. Dip it out. Top position. You probably can't see my head now. Back down. Keep your grip. Easy. Boom. Now that's a fast way to show you how to do the muscle up, but the key areas: false grip, number one, you've got to do. Number two, transition work. Just do that time after time after time. Make sure you get a very strong dip, and when you do your full false grip pull-ups, make sure you're getting really high so that your wrist is actually below the armpit level. Then you'll be able to get into your strong dip position, and if you've got a strong dip, you'll finish it off easy. That's how to do a rings muscle up. A beautiful transition from below the rings to above the rings. Merry Christmas!